Hi, my name is Ghoulie, and I'm here to talk to you about Wanderstop. Originally released on March 11th, 2025 and developed by Ivy Road, Wanderstop is a tea shop sim available on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series XS. You play as Alta, a former fighting champion who has found herself working at a tea shop after getting lost in these strange magical woods. As she helps run the shop, she meets a variety of customers going through their own troubles. And as their stories unfold, we learn more about Alta, the mysterious tea shop, and what's really going on. If this is the first review of mine you are watching, know my reviews tend to be more positive as I only review games I have enjoyed, regardless of any criticism I do have. I also try to be as spoiler-free as possible, and unless it's a farming sim, I have played the game to its completion. If you want to see me play games in real time, I stream over on Twitch 5 days a week. A quick disclaimer before we start. I was given a review key for Wanderstop from the dev team, but this does not shape my review in any way. So, let's begin, starting off with the story. Wanderstop has a complex and layered story that is heavy with themes of anxiety, burnout, and change. These themes are not very obvious from the game's Steam page, nor its demo, so to fully discuss them, we'll be tiptoeing into spoiler territory. These spoilers will only pertain to the first chapter of the game. The story begins with a cutscene detailing Alta's story and motivation. Once a champion fighter, she lost her first fight in 3 years. Then she keeps losing fights. Her confidence drops and she decides to venture out in a forest to find Master Winters, whom Alta believes will make her a great fighter again. But her sword becomes too heavy to carry. She leaves it behind. Then her body becomes too tired, and then she collapses. She wakes up in a clearing with a tea shop and its owner, Boro. Boro explains that he found her and brought her here. After a brief cutscene, Boro suggests to Alta to work at his tea shop while she recuperates. She begrudgingly agrees. The story then follows her healing journey as she meets a wide range of quirky customers who all have their own stories to tell. This is where the deeper themes of the story come together. In the first chapter, Alta meets Gerald, a self-proclaimed knight who loves his son and is on an adventure to look cool in his son's eyes. He's goofy, embarrassing, and dorky. At one point, Gerald comes back with a cursed leg, but he shrugs it off and says he'll be fine. But the next time you see him, he is completely changed. The curse took over. So, what do you do to help him? You don't. The hardest pill to swallow in Wanderstop is that you don't get to solve everyone's problems. Many of them don't have resolutions and you'll never know what happened to them. I believe this is part of one of the game's major themes. Disappointment and dissatisfaction are parts of life. Alta is a worker at a tea shop, not a hero. In real life, customers come and go and you'll never know if you'll see them again. This is true for this game as well. At the beginning of each chapter, the tea shop and its clearing are wiped clean. Every trinket and teacup you found, all of the plants you've been tending to, all gone. And any customer you had before, gone. You'll never see them again. I admit I was very upset the first time it happened. A blank slate every time I finished a chapter was not what I expected. But I believe all these things tie into the game's theme of change. Change can be good, but it can also be bad. It can be refreshing or frustrating. But regardless of what kind of change you get, you have to accept it and deal with it. We find out in the first few minutes of the game, Alta was the best fighter. She trained every day for years to be the best. Then one day she's not. What did she do wrong? What could she have done differently? She spent her entire adult life to be the best and she got it. Then she lost it. And she can't accept that change. She refuses to. This refusal also ties into the game's other major theme, burnout. Alta put all of her eggs into this one basket and now that basket is gone. And she feels that she needs to get that basket back or all the work she's been putting into life was for nothing. She worked hard, too hard to get where she was at. And now she thinks she needs to work even harder to get it back. This game is not about Alta's healing journey. It's about her realizing that she even has a problem, that she needs help. Wanderstop is medicine and therapy rolled together and stuffed into the framework of being cozy. Because of the game's heavier themes, I do suggest playing this game when you're in a good place mentally and emotionally. Despite my initial misgivings during my playthrough, I enjoyed this game. Wanderstop had an assignment and it achieved that. Now, onto the characters. Wanderstop has a variety of characters. Some we get to know really well, others we don't. So, let's talk about our main two and some of my favorite customers. Alta is a hard pill to swallow. To be transparent, she's a bitch. She's mean, snappy, and largely unlikable. But as the story progresses, she mellows out bit by bit. A lot of her nasty personality comes from her frustration, both of her situation and herself. As the tough shell breaks apart, we get to know her a little more. It's pretty ballsy to make the player character this unlikable right out of the gate, but I don't doubt that this is intentional. I can't say if I liked her by the end, but I did feel for her. Despite her attitude, she's trying, and sometimes that's the best you can get. I can respect her for that. Boro, on the other hand, is a ray of sunshine landing on a litter of baby bunnies in a field of flowers. He is so kind and so patient with Alta. He recognizes that she is someone in need and keeps offering his hand out to her. This juxtaposition between Alta and Boro is probably why I don't dislike Alta as much as I normally would. Seeing Boro's careful handling with her, we as the player can also see that Alta is a hurt individual who needs help, but hasn't taken that first step in recognizing that herself. With the customers, my top favorite is Nana, a businesswoman who only accepts her own currency, nanabucks. She's very similar to Alta, headstrong and stubborn, but her older age has softened those edges and deep down she cares for others, even though she'll yell at you for implying that she has a heart. Another is Rin, a warrior like Alta and even a big fan of hers. First, trans mask, let's go! We love to see it. His arc and how it parallels with Alta's is enlightening and touching. He's such a good boy. The other customers are great in their own way, and with a lot of them, I would have loved to learn more about them, especially this cute little bat girl. Also, they put me in this game? Hello? Those were the characters. Let's touch on the graphics. From the soft colors of the scenery, the fantasy elements sprinkled about, and the cartoony character designs, Wanderstop has a wonderful aesthetic. Although the game has a few graphical issues such as items falling through the floor or objects in the cutscene rendering mid-scene, the game is still beautiful overall. The tea shop is adorable! Rustic architecture with stained glass, the alchemical design of the tea-making apparatus, the moss-covered deck and bridges, it's all so cozy. The sharper rendering of the tea house starkly contrasts with the more painterly pastel colors of the clearing, adding more to the fantastical, otherworldly vibes. The coloration of the clearing is vibrant, ranging from all colors of the rainbow. Like with the game's theme of change, the clearing's design changes with each chapter, not only in color, but in the layout of the surrounding smaller structures. I can never remember where things are, and that's the point. The use of color shines best in a darker chapter when the clearing is devoid of color. Seeing the white foliage is unsettling to say the least, beautiful in its own way. And finally, the character design. Most of them lean into the exaggerated cartoony style where the design says it all. For example, Gerald, the knight, has his dad shirt and tie poking through between the armor pieces, and the helmet's plume being a broom. Fits with the reality that he's playing pretend and that he's a true knight in name only. I would be remiss if I failed to bring up the game's mascot, the Pluffins. Part penguin, part chicken, part mystery, these little guys hang around the tea shop. You can pick them up, pet them, or shake them like a rag doll. But what is extra fun is that if you feed them a cup of tea, their color changes to match that of the tea. You can get some wild colored Pluffins, and when you do, they follow you around, and it's actually pretty adorable. Now, let's get into Wanderstop's audio design. The audio of Wanderstop has more hits or misses than any other part of the game. The music itself is great. It is unintrusive but relaxing. Takes a little bit of a back seat so the sound effects can be more audible. The crackling of the fire, the bubbling of the tea-making machine, Alta's footfalls changing by the surface she's walking on, it's all wonderful. in the darker chapter that was mentioned earlier, the almost complete lack of sound is used so effectively. The music is trying to play, but it sounds crunchy and staticky, all well done. But the biggest audio flaw is Alta's voice. I won't speak on the voice acting itself. Some people liked it, others didn't. That part is subjective. Regardless if you like it or not, it's too stinking loud. I had to turn down the voice volume by quite a few notches. There weren't that many voice dialogue, but enough to make this adjustment. The problem with that is that Alta is the only voice character for 99% of the game. That last 1% goes to a character near the end of the game, and their voice is much, much quieter than Alta's. It felt like Alta was yelling and the other character was whispering. I wish the audio balancing was given a little more attention in this department, but it's great everywhere else. And now, the gameplay. The gameplay loop is straightforward and simple. Gather tea leaves, grow plants for seeds and fruit, and fulfill the tea orders. You can also do non-vital tasks like decorating the tea shop, trimming the weeds, and sweeping up leaves. The tea orders themselves become more complicated with each chapter. Luckily, if you ever get stuck, there is a book of answers that you can read. The gameplay takes a backseat for the story. It's proactive and keeps you busy, but ultimately serves as a vehicle for the narrative. This isn't inherently good or bad, just is. But you can always feed tea to the Pluffins. Onto the achievements. The achievements of Wanderstop are the easiest achievements you'll ever get. Just play the game for about 15 hours. The achievements seem to be time-based rather than anything you're doing. They will show up randomly, and the achievement texts are like weird fortune cookies. I don't mind this, nor am I that surprised. Davey Werden, the director and writer for Wanderstop, is also the creator of the Stanley Parable, and has been known to dislike game achievements. So, the achievements being random and nonsensical is pretty on brand for him. Now, for my final thoughts. Wanderstop is like a marshmallow with bitter medicine hidden inside. The story is layered, the characters are quirky and memorable, the graphics are beautiful, and despite the voice volume issue, the audio design does its job. And the gameplay is simple but keeps you busy. As of this recording, the game is $24.99. It took me about 15 hours to complete the game, which is a solid amount. I highly recommend this game with the caveat of make sure you're in a good headspace before playing. But that's all from me today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as a way of helping my channel. I hope you have a good day, good night, good morning, whatever time it is there. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!